All right, Shalom.
Shalom.
This is YAHAWAH with the GMS Dallas camp. I got the brother Padak and I got the brother Bonson Pod. All right. First off, we want to give all praises to
Yahawah, SHAM, YAHAWASHI, SHAM, Rakakadash.
Okay, double honors to the apostles and elders, great millstone, teaching them real well. And peace and salutations to Akim scattered throughout the four corners, keeping his word in truth and sincerity. All right. So we're just going to go into a topic, that I always say it, but we all should know, going into the law. All right, because a lot of these churches, these Christians, and we specifically talk against these Christians because that's what they be teaching. All right, they tell you that the law is done away with, and that through the blood of
we work out Jesus Christ, right.
Who the world calls Jesus Christ, you don't need to, abide by those laws no more.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But the scriptures talk against that. And Yahawashi, who the world calls Jesus Christ, said it himself. Okay?
I got it. This is Matthew 5:17. Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy it, but to fulfill.
Right, so he said, I am come not to destroy the law or the prophets, but to fulfill. Because if you look at it like this, for example, let's say, they like to say the Old Testament's done away with, right? But then there's a lot of prophecies in the Old Testament that haven't come to pass. You got Obadiah, you know what I'm saying? You got Amos, you got some stuff in Jeremiah, you got Isaiah. A lot of things that they said hasn't come to pass yet. And a lot of things they said is quoted in the New Testament.
Right.
Yahawashi, who the world calls Jesus Christ, quoted those scriptures, man. Can you read that again?
But that word in Matthew 5:17 for fulfilled is G4137. I think it's perero, which means to make full, to fill up, to fill to the full. So he come back to make the full. In other words, the law never been done away with. He coming to establish the law, man.
Yeah, and that law, what you got to think about is this. Okay, so when it comes to Yahawashi, who the world calls Jesus Christ, when it comes to he came to fulfill, he didn't just fulfill the whole, he didn't just come to fulfill what was the law and then it was done away with. It was talking about the law of sacrifice.
Right.
Okay, because when it comes to Yahawashi, he was that final sacrificial lamb, like the scriptures say. You got a precept?
Yeah.
This is Acts chapter 3 and verse 18. But those things which the Most High before had showed by the mouth of all his prophets, that Mashiach should suffer, he had so fulfilled.
Right, so those things that Yahawashi HaMashiach, which is who the world calls Jesus Christ, has come to fulfill, all right? For example, it was said that that there would be a sacrificial lamb that was going to be set up. I thought they were going to come over here.
Oh, I thought they won't matter.
Yeah, they were looking at us like they were going to say something.
Could ask a question.
Yeah, no, I was waiting for it. I looked at her. But anyways, like I was saying, there was it was prophesied that there would be a sacrificial lamb set up to die for the nation of Israel. That blood being shed, to cleanse the sins for the iniquity of the children of Israel. Which is really what that's going into. You know what I'm saying? Because Yahawashi was the final sacrifice to where we didn't have to, get a lamb or a goat or whatever, you know what I'm saying, to sacrifice,
right,
and for the Yahawah, and for our sins to be covered, So with Yahawashi, all that was done away with. As a matter of fact, can you give me Exodus the 24th chapter?
Yeah, because Jacob be clever. Jacob get a turtle dove and have something in the backyard, commit the sin, then come out and sacrifice the dove and shit. See, Jacob is slick, man.
Right.
So the Most High, you know what? I'm gonna send my son for the total land, for the total sacrifice, so you ain't gotta do that no more.
Right.
Right. Not only that, but Jacob be just a plant. Jacob be doing wickedness and going in the backyard to get a pigeon and shit, sacrifice the pigeon, and Lord forgive me. He said, no, you know what? I'm doing away with all that.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
So like the brothers going into, Israel was premeditating on sin.
Right.
So they were like, okay, I'm about to go sleep with this guy's wife. You know what I'm saying? But hey, I'm good as long I'm gonna you know, I'm gonna do this, sacrifice these turtle doves or goat or a lamb or whatever,
Right.
and I'll be good. You know.
Yeah.
So they were thinking about the sin, and they're already thinking like, oh, it's all good. I just
Premeditated.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like, hey, I just do this. I just, you know, I'll do that little law sacrifice, and I'm good. All right, go ahead, read that.
Exodus 24 and what?
No, just start at the top.
At the top. This is Exodus chapter 24, starting at the top at verse 1. And he said unto Moses, come up unto YAHAWASHI, thou and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel, and worship you afar off.
Right.
And Moses alone shall come near the YAHAWASHI, but they shall not come nigh, neither shall the people go up with him. And Moses came and told the people all the words of YAHAWASHI, and all the judgments, and all the people answered with one voice and said, all the words which YAHAWASHI hath said will we do.
Right, so you had
That's
the,
it, 24?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's my favorite. Yeah, go ahead. I know where you're going. Go ahead.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
go ahead. Yeah.
You know, if you got something.
No,
you know,
go ahead.
Hey, but I remember the Apostle Ramla went into this, you know, when it came into talking about the law of sacrifice and the laws being done away with and what these Christians believe. You know, so you had Aaron, you had Moses, you had the 70 elders, and then you had the afar off the children of Israel.
Right.
You know, and then Moses had presented the words of YAHAWASHI, and what it say? It said that they all agreed, right?
And Moses came and told the people all the words of YAHAWASHI, and all the judgments, and all the people answered with one voice and said, all the words which the YAHAWASHI hath said we will do.
Yeah.
Right, all the words and all the judgments, and then they said all the words of what was spoken. Yeah, what the Lord said. You know, saying all these things we shall do. Right, go ahead.
Verse 4. And Moses wrote all the words of YAHAWASHI, and rose up early in the morning, and builded an altar under the hill, and 12 pillars according to the 12 tribes of Israel. And he sent young men of the children of Israel, which offered burnt offerings and sacrifices, and sacrificed peace offerings of oxen unto YAHAWASHI. And Moses took half of the blood and put it in basins, and half of the blood he sprinkled on the altar.
Yeah.
And he took the book of the covenant and read in the audience of the people, and they said, all that YAHAWASHI hath said we will do, and be obedient.
Right.
And Moses took the blood and sprinkled it on the people.
Right. So they had agreed. Right. They said all the things that you said. We are gonna make a deal. Right. Go ahead.
And said, behold, the blood of the covenant with which YAHAWASHI hath made with you concerning all these words. Then went up Moses and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel, and they saw the Most High, or saw the power of Israel, and there was under his feet as it were a paved work of a sapphire stone.
Right. So that was the point right there. You know. So Moses took the blood, and then like I said, he sprinkled it, but then he said he had sprinkled it on the children of Israel, and they said, and this is the covenant. Right. Read that part again.
And he took the book of the covenant and read in the audience. Hold on, let me make sure this is.
Yeah, because he read the book of the law. It's just talking about this word unto the children of Israel,
Okay.
right? And then they had said, okay, all the things that you said, we agree, right?
And Moses took the blood and sprinkled it on the people, and said, behold, the blood of the covenant which YAHAWASHI hath made with you concerning all these words.
He sprinkled it on the people and said, behold, the blood of the covenant. Right?
The agreement.
Mhm.
Oh, this is not what?
Okay, the blood, the agreement, like the brother said. So that blood is what made that covenant you give it that force, like the Apostle Ramla said.
Gave it life.
So it's what made it, pretty much like sealed the deal.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So with YAHAWASHI, you know what I'm saying, that's what that new covenant is talking about. You had the old covenant, and then you have the new covenant, the Old Testament, New Testament. That was it on that. But can you get you got something?
No.
Okay, read that again.
Matthew 5:17. Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. Which means the prophets going to be back today. So the prophets never went away either. The law's still here and the prophets still here, man. And he's been using the prophets to bring about the downfall of many nations even before we was even thought about, man. That's crazy. It said, think not, Matthew 5:17, think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy it, but to fulfill.
Right. You know, so he said, I am not come to destroy the law, but to fulfill. You know, so the laws were never done away with.
And the prophets were never done away with.
Right.
Because the only people that can bring it to you, the laws, statutes, commandments, or teaching the nation of Israel are Israelites, the prophets. You can't find no prophet amongst the Moabites, amongst the Hamites, because they're not the Most High's people, man.
Right.
So I mean, the Israelites not done away with, and the law that was given to the Israelites through Moses and Aaron, the law still valid today, man. Man, that's just ooh.
Yeah, you know, so like we read in Exodus 24 chapter, talking about that covenant that was made.
Right.
You know, with the blood. You know what I'm saying? And then you had YAHAWASHI, you know, who was that ultimate last sacrifice
lamb, yep.
to where we don't have to do that no more.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it was that blood, like we said, that made that sealed that deal, you know? Like, okay, the children of Israel, they were by Moses, they were read the law and the judgments and the words, you know, of this book.
Yep.
And they said, okay, all that you said, we agree. You know, so he sprinkled that blood, and they said, this is the covenant, you know, between you and the Lord.
That's right.
You know, so with Yahawashi, that was what he was talking about. You know, like you know, when he was up on the cross, you know what I'm saying, and then he said, "It is done, it has been fulfilled," or something to that effect.
Right, it is done.
You know, that's what he was talking about. You know what I'm saying? You got that in Hebrews 9 chapter.
Con, if I may add too, yeah, that it is done. You know, is that suffering, man. You know what I'm saying? Which is what is why about that Acts the 3rd chapter out in verse 18, man. Because that's the only thing that was fulfilled, man, for you Christians, man. That don't understand that, because you love to when brothers go to that verse, act like that's already happened. It's done. It's over. No, it's not over, man. That's the only part that's fulfilled is the sacrificial, like the brothers is going into, the sacrificial lamb, man. That suffering that Yahawashi had to go through, you know, and going on the cross and dying for the elect of the nation of Israel, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And when you read, continue to read in that verse, in that chapter, the very next verse, it says all things. If you can read that real quick, guy.
Yeah. This is Matthew 5:17.
No, verse
5 and 18. For verily I say unto you, to heaven and earth pass, one jot or one little. Matthew 5 and 18. For verily I say unto you, to heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled.
Till all be fulfilled, showing you that everything is not fulfilled. In that first part, the suffering was fulfilled, but all has not been fulfilled, man. That's why I said that in verse 18, man. So there's more to come. He hadn't returned yet.
Right.
You know, he still got to return. So we know all things aren't fulfilled. You know, stop being simple.
Right. Verse 19. Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments, and shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven.
Yeah, you know, hey, like the scriptures, hey, like the brother's saying, man, like Jeremiah 31, man, the law, statutes, and commandments ain't been put in us yet.
Right.
You know, so those things apply because they're in the Old Testament.
Right.
There are plenty of prophecies to show that Yahweh has said, like, look, these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. You know.
Right.
So these things in the Old Testament, because they were quoted by Yahawashi. How many times did Yahawashi quote Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? How many times? You know what I'm saying? So all those things ain't just because Yahawashi died on the cross doesn't mean that everything that was said before is of none effect.
Right.
Like it says in Galatians the 3rd chapter, you know, like that it cannot disannul. You know, but give me James the 2nd chapter real quick.
Start at 1.
Start at 1. Let me see. Yeah, go ahead.
James 2 and 1. My brethren, have not faith of our Lord Yahawashi Mashiach, the Lord of glory, with respect of persons. For if there come,
So like start at 10.
James 2 and 10. For whosoever shall keep the whole law and yet offend in one point, he is guilty of all.
Right, so now another thing, like y'all can't just be accusing us of trying to keep the whole law.
Right.
Like we telling you, like you got to keep the whole law to 100%, because we all know in this flesh it's impossible, especially in these times. You know what I'm saying? But like it's like Joshua had mentioned, you know what I'm saying? We got to rehearse them righteous acts, man. You know, we got to show YAHAWASHI YAHAWASHI through our works, our faith, and it goes back the other way too, man. We show our faith with our works, and our works are shown with our faith.
Right.
You know, and a lot of people will tell you. So you telling me that we gotta do the works to show the faith, our faith, and you know, and it's how do I say? I want to say yes to both. You know, like yeah, you know, you can have your faith, but without works, you know, as a matter of fact, it's gonna say it.
Real quick, Deuteronomy 27 and 26. Cursed be he that confirmeth not all the words of this law to do them.
Yeah.
And all the people shall say, and let it be so.
Right, and then remember,
curse.
Yeah. And they had made they said, yeah, this is what it's going to be. You know, they agreed to that.
Right.
Just like we read in Exodus 24 chapter. You know, they made an agreement. That's like, okay, all the words that we agree.
And if you break one of them, you don't agree, man, it's cursed to you.
And another, Khan, and that's right. You know, just think about it like this. If the laws and the agreements that we have made and everything and the covenant was done away with, then why do the curses still apply to us to this day? You know, why are people being destroyed? Why are we under slavery? You know, why, even back in 100 years ago, why were the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans put in slavery by these so-called white people?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That applies to the law.
Right.
You know, if all that was done away with, everybody should be chilling right now.
For real.
You know, really no death, no pestilences, no famines.
No poverty.
Right. You know?
That's where we are. We'll be in the kingdom if that's the case.
Yeah.
We won't be in captivity.
Yep. You know, but those curses still apply because we're not following after the law, statute, commandments of YAHAWASHI YAHAWASHI. You know, you can read that in Baruch, the first chapter.
Yep.
You know, hey, we decided to go off, so those curses cleaved unto us, and they still cleaving to us unto this day, man. That's why you see your grandma died. That's why you see your mom got diabetes. You know, that's why you see your brother get shot up for selling drugs.
The woman being whores and shit.
Yeah. You know? Yeah. That's right. You know? But anyways,
11.
Yeah, go ahead.
James 2 and 11. For he that said, do not commit adultery, said also, do not kill. Now, if thou commit no adultery, yet if thou kill, thou art become a transgressor of the law.
Yeah, like, you know, like we're saying, man, like, of course, it is impossible to keep the whole law,
Right.
not in these modern times, you know, but it shows our faith if we try our to our best of our ability. You know, like, okay, you know, that's why YAHAWASHI say, like, why calls me thou Lord and do not the things I say? You know, he told that woman in the book of Matthew, they were about to stone her.
Right.
Right? And then he was writing on the ground, and then they kept asking him like, hey, what you think? You know what I'm saying? And then I asked him a few times, and then he finally got up and said, he who is without sin cast the first stone. And then they were like, oh shit. And then they walked away. And then what did he tell the woman? He said, go and sin no more. Literally meaning go and sin no more. You know, so when it comes to YAHAWASHI and being put on that cross and dying for the sins of the nation of Israel, all right, dying for the sins of the nation of Israel, it don't mean that you could just go like you covered with his blood every time you decide to go off.
Right.
On your own free, just because you think like, oh, Jesus Christ got me, that's why he died, right? So if I don't sin, it's like he did it for nothing.
Right.
Which I've heard people say, you know, which is not so. You know, if you doing that, it's like Scripture said, you putting him back on that cross. You know, that's why Peter and Paul said, like, you know, use not your liberty as a cloak of maliciousness. You know, don't use your liberty in the blood of YAHAWASHI to do whatever you want. You know, you can't
Right.
be a whore on Saturday night and then go Sunday morning and then go to church. You know, that's what that's talking about. You know, so if you're gonna tell somebody to keep the whole law, then you yourself are gonna be guilty for keeping the whole law.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Verse 12, so speak ye and so do as they that shall be judged by the law of liberty.
There you go. That's what we're talking about, by the law of liberty. You know? So don't go around telling people like, yeah, you got to keep you got these Old Testament Israelites, you know, and then who knows when the last time you heard about them. You know, you know, you can't, like, oh yeah, you got to keep the whole law. You know? Now who if you got to keep the whole law, then that means you got to go back to the time to where you were sacrificing animals for forgiveness of sins.
That means you don't need YAHWASHI.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much what you're saying.
So forget the Lord. So I got the whole law. We don't need YAHWASHI. Man, please. We need him to come help us.
Right.
We need deliverance, man.
That's right.
Right, you know. Go ahead.
Keep going. Verse 13. For he shall have judgment without mercy that have showed no mercy, and mercy rejoiceth against judgment.
Right, so it said right there. So he shall be judged. Oh, read that again.
For he shall have judgment without mercy that have shown no mercy, and mercy rejoiceth against judgment.
Right, so he's gonna be that person is gonna be judged for not showing that mercy.
Right.
You know, so like Yahawah and Yahawashi, or through the acts of Yahawashi, now we have that mercy, like it says in Ephesians 2nd chapter. As a matter of fact, you got that. Get that. We got more on that. I want to get. You know what I'm saying? Gone. So you know, through the act of Yahawashi dying for the sins of the nation of Israel, mostly specifically talking about the elect, but overall, the whole nation of Israel, through the blood of Yahawashi, has that opportunity to be brought back into that fold, being shown that mercy. Okay. Now we're going. You know, I know I'm talking a little fast, but we're going to clarify in Ephesians 2nd chapter. Okay. So, in a nutshell, let's say you had Yahawah, then you had the nation of Israel, right? And the Lord was dealing like with us like unto a woman, like the scriptures say. You know what I'm saying? The Lord has likened unto the nation of Israel unto his woman. All right, but we being wicked and whoring after these idols, it's like we cheated on the Lord, on the Most High. So, like it says in Jeremiah the third chapter, and in Hosea the 1st chapter, the Lord has given us a bill of divorcement, pretty much, you know, cutting us off. Like, let's say you had a woman, and then she cheated on you, and then you're like, man, I'm not gonna deal with this. You know, so you give her that bill of divorcement, and you cut her off. Same thing.
Yep.
That's why the Most High made that comparison. You know, so after all that time, like it says in Ephesians the 2nd chapter, you know, we were lost without hope, like the other nations. All right, so Yahawashi come in and then shedding his blood, like we had talked about. Now we have that chance to be reconciled with the Lord, with Yahweh, the Most High, through Yahawashi, him being that mediator. Okay, him, like, you know, like the brothers are always mentioned, you know, you got a judge, and then you got your lawyer, and then you got you. And your lawyer's like, you know, you dealing with you, and then he'll go over there to the judge and be like, look, you know, we can do this, we can work this out, and then you go back to go talk to you, be like, look, this is what the judge said, this is what we can work out.
The mediator.
Yeah, you know, it's gonna go into that.
Yeah, he got it.
Is that at the top, or you want to read your point?
Yeah, get to the point.
Verse 11.
Verse 11.
This is Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 11. And it reads, wherefore remember that ye being in time past Gentiles in the flesh, who are called uncircumcision by that which is called the circumcision in the flesh made by hands.
Right, so it said in times past being called Gentiles. Because like I had just mentioned, like at first, when we were with Yahweh, okay, we were, you know, we were of a part of that fold, right? But then when we went off and we were whoring after all these different idols, doing all kinds of wickedness, mingling amongst the heathen nations, then the Lord cut us off, making us Gentiles. But that's why it says that. Read that part again.
Time, Ephesians 2 and 11. Wherefore remember that ye being in time past Gentiles in the flesh, who are called uncircumcision by that which is called the circumcision in the flesh made by hands.
right, being called uncircumcision by the circumcision. You know what I'm saying? You had, them Jews and them the Pharisees and those scribes that were, of the law, being of the circumcision, calling those of the uncircumcision uncircumcised. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because they had to they weren't keeping the laws. Right.
Yeah,
Right.
you had Israelites at that time, during the time of YAHAWASHI, that were born in those Roman and Greek customs, making them uncircumcised. You know, so that's why you had the circumcision, which was the Jews that were supposedly keeping the law. You know, looking at these guys like, man, these are uncircumcised, man. These are Gentiles.
Right.
You know, which a lot of people don't understand. You know, especially these Christians, man, because they don't read the scriptures.
Because y'all Christians are a bunch of. Look, we was once Gentiles too. Y'all are Gentiles as well, man.
Mm-hmm.
So y'all motherfuckers ignorant, man.
Yeah, you know, hey, the scriptures talk about, like, if you really pay attention, there's two different types of Gentiles. You
Right.
got the Gentiles.
You got the natural Gentiles, yeah, the actual heathen other nations like Chinese and Japanese.
Right.
Those walk the natural born Gentiles.
Yep. And then you had the other side, the other Gentiles, which were Israelites, who were,
Took on the other customs.
yeah, you know, who grew up in the customs of the Gentiles, you know, being called Gentiles. You know what I'm saying? Because that word Greek in Romans the 3rd chapter? No, it's Galatians the 3rd chapter, where it says neither Jew or Greek. Now,
Right.
when you go into that word Greek, in the Greek, you know, that sounds weird, right? But when you go into the word, the English word Greek, in the actual Greek, it's Helen. Okay, and that word Helen is a primitive word, which comes from the word Helleniste or Hellenista. You know, which literally means in the Greek, a Jew who took on the customs of a Greek or a Roman. You know, so you being an Israelite of that blood, growing up in those customs, in those ways, like today, for example, today in America, you have the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Americans who are of the line of Israel that go back to the nation of the children of Israel. They grew up in these westernized, Americanized customs, making them Gentiles. Or in the ancient world, you would be called uncircumcised.
Right.
You know? But anyways, so keep reading on that.
Come back in Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 12, that at that time ye were without Mashiach, being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel.
Right, so there, look, that's a good point right there. Now, I had mentioned about us being shut away and thrown out of that, like they said, that commonwealth of Israel. So the Most High had thrown us out, being in that inner circle. Why? Because like I had mentioned, you know, we were going off.
Yep.
And then we can really go into that too, but we've done that in other videos. You know,
Yep.
this brother was here, this brother was here. You know, we gone into those things, how all the things that Israel had done, you know, and the Most High showed us mercy, but then we went off again. You know, it wasn't like what you just went off one time and the Most High was like, man, I'm done. No, it was because of multiple times.
Right.
The number is probably innumerable at this point, according to the scriptures. You know, you can see how many different times Israel went off. So the Most High finally said, man, I had enough. I'm done with y'all. Right? So that's why I read that verse again.
Khan, this is Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 12, that at that time ye were without Mashiach, being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel, and strangers from the covenants of promise, having no hope and without the Most High in the world.
Right, so we were strangers from the covenant of promise. Can you get that word alienated in the Greek? You know, it's because that word alienated goes into that. You know, we were shut out from that. I think it says we were shut out from the intimacy between us and the Lord.
Right.
You know, so if you keep reading, which we're going to do, you know, we read Ephesians, it tells us how Yahawashi was made that mediator.
Mm-hmm. I got that. That word is G526. I don't know how to pronounce that. Apollo trio, and it's to alienate, estrange, to be shut out from one's fellowship and intimacy.
There you go. To be shut out
from one's fellowship and intimacy.
Right, and that's what happened to us, man. That's what happened to the children of Israel as a whole. We're shut out from that intimacy between us and the Lord. And if you don't believe that word or what I'm saying, it's going to tell you. Watch, keep going.
Back in Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 13. But now in Mashiach YAHAWASHI, ye who sometimes were far off are made nigh by the blood of Mashiach.
There you go. So it said, ye sometimes who are far off are made nigh, meaning close to the by the blood of YAHAWASHI HaMashiach. Right? Go ahead.
For he is our peace, who hath made both one, and hath broken down the middle wall of partition between us.
Yeah, that middle wall of partition, you know. So that's that invisible wall between us and the Lord. All right, that invisible wall that we weren't able to get through to be close with Yahweh.
Right.
But with YAHAWASHI making that sacrifice, you know, now we breaking that wall down. Now we have that opportunity to be brought back into that intimacy, like that word we read. Right. Go ahead.
Having, verse 15, having abolished in his flesh the enmity, even the law of commandments contained in ordinances, for to make in himself of twain one new man, so making peace.
Right. So, tearing, pretty much doing away with that enmity between that. What does that word enmity mean? Like hate?
Like hatred.
Yeah, like hatred between us and the Lord, or the Lord towards us. You know, YAHAWASHI put that away. You know, what does it say about the laws and ordinances?
Even the law of commandments contained in ordinances.
Can you get Hebrews 9th chapter? You know, contain the law of, what does it say, of ordinances? So like,
the law of commandments contained in ordinances.
Right, the law and commandments contained in ordinances, you know, talking about law, statutes, commandments. You know, because there were certain things in there that Israel had done to where pretty much is like unforgivable, you know? So with YAHAWASHI coming into the scene, now it's like we have that mercy.
Right.
You know, we have that chance of like, okay, that's why in Isaiah, the first chapter, it said, though your sins be as scarlet, you know, they shall be white as wool. You know, that's why King David has said, blessed is he in whom the Most High imputeth not iniquity. You know, so blessed are we through YAHAWASHI for the Most High not imputing that iniquity unto us. That's why I mentioned that in James the 2nd chapter. Like, man, like if you're gonna keep the whole law, then you yourself are gonna be judged by the whole law.
Yep.
You know, so you can't go. So that's why a lot of people get mixed up, man. Like we in GMS, we don't believe in telling everybody like you got to keep the whole law.
Right. You can't. It's impossible.
Right.
It's impossible to do it, man. Especially in this captivity. You can't do that, man.
You saw the devil, man.
Yeah, you might keep 20 of them straight, then you got 613 different laws, man. So shit, you break one, that's it.
So, and the scriptures say that if you break one, you break them all, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Curse be unto you.
Yeah.
Right.
Hebrews not the one.
Oh wait, hold on.
Go
Like the scripture say, the sin is transgression of the law.
Right.
You know, and what are the wages of sin? Wages of sin are death. You know, so really everybody who is in that type of mentality should be put to death.
Dead already.
You know, hey, but through the mercy and through the
mercy and grace.
Grace, yeah. Of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, man, we like David said, man, we've been blessed. You know, blessed is he in whom the Most High imputed not iniquity.
That's right.
You know, so that's why we say the water Yahweh Shem Yahushai for keeping us alive and for not for forgiving my sins. You know, but Christianity has made that corny, man.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, you tell, you say, the water Yahweh Shem Yahushai for forgiving my sins. You know what I'm saying? And please show me mercy, or whatever brothers may pray with. Overall, Christianity has made all of that just seem like the brothers say, man, corny. It's like, man, like you don't even feel comfortable saying it.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's like
it's vain.
Yeah.
You know, it's nothing. It's void. Right. It's empty.
Like it's like just remember when you were in church and your mom or with whoever you used to go to church with, and you say like, God, thank you for this blessed day. Thank you, Jesus. You know, it's like, damn, like I don't even. I have to water Yahawashi for this truth, man, because
Right.
you know, like that's why I like to word things differently. You know, like I don't want to say like, for example, let's say, you know, thank you, Yahawashi, or the water Yahawashi for forgiving my sins. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll say something like, the water Yahawashi for showing me mercy. You know, for allowing me to be in this truth. Yeah, you know, things like that. You know what I'm saying? But of course, there is nothing wrong with how you say it, but it's just like Christianity has just made it like, man, I don't know, I don't like the way they say it, you know?
Yeah, it's just, ain't no meaning behind it.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, you know what I mean. But anyways, well, where were you at right now?
I just finished verse 15.
I got Hebrews. Yeah, you had Ephesians 2:15.
Yeah.
About the
Ephesians
ordinances.
2:15.
Okay, read this.
Hebrews 9:1. Then verily, the first covenant had also ordinances of divine service and a worldly sanctuary.
Right, and a worldly sanctuary, man.
Yeah.
So those things were of the world. You know, you had the ordinances, you had the laws, and you had the different things that you had to set up. You know, you had the table, the shewbread, and everything, and all that. Right? Go ahead.
For there was a tabernacle made, the first, wherein was the candlestick and the table and the showbread, which is called the sanctuary.
Right? Go ahead.
Verse 3, after the second veil, the tabernacle, which is called the holiest of all, which had the golden censer and the ark of the covenant overlaid round about with gold, wherein was the golden pot that had manna and Aaron's rod that bubbed the tables of the covenant.
Right.
Verse 5, and over it the cherubims of glory shadowing the mercy seat, of which we cannot speak particularly. Now, when these things were thus ordained, the priest went always into the first tabernacle, accomplishing the service of the Most High.
Yeah, so you had the priest going in there, you know, accomplishing, like, you know, like the brother said, like the brother read, accomplishing the service of the Most High, and it gave you that description of all the things that were there.
Right.
Right? Go ahead.
But into the second went the high priest alone once every year, not without blood, which he offered for himself and for the errors of the people.
And there goes that law, man. That law of sacrifice. You know, you had, and then the second time, talking about the high priest, right?
Yeah.
What did it say?
But into the second went the high priest alone once every year, not without blood, which he offered for himself and for the errors of the people.
Yeah, so he went in there with the blood, and then he offered first for himself, and then for the nation, the sins of the nation, of the children of Israel. Right? Go ahead.
The Holy Ghost, this signifying that the way into the holiest of all was not yet made manifest, while at the first tabernacle was yet standing.
Right, so the holiest of all wasn't yet made manifest, right? Go ahead.
Verse 9, which was a figure for the time when, for which was a figure for the time then present, in which were offered both gifts and sacrifices that could not make him that did the service perfect as pertaining to the consciousness.
Yeah, conscience. Yeah. You know, so those things were a figure of things to come, like it says in what is it, Hebrews 10 chapter? Yeah. Yeah, so those things were, like it says right here, I'm going to read it real quick. It says, Hebrews 10:1, it says, for the law having a shadow of good things to come, and not the very image of the things, can never with those sacrifices which they offered year by year continually make the commerce thereunto perfect. You know, so either way, if you were doing the law of sacrifice, it wasn't like you were just made, it was all the way perfect. You know?
Right.
But with this new way with Yahawashi, you can be made perfect.
Huh.
That's why Yahawashi said, like, walk ye therefore as I perfect as I am perfect, or something to that effect. You know, roughly paraphrasing, right? Go ahead and keep going on that.
Verse 10, which stood only in meats and drinks and diverse washings and carnal ordinances imposed on them until the time of reformation.
Right, Salak, man, let me read this real quick.
Go ahead.
Continuing on Hebrews 10, verse 2, it says, for then, right, so it said, like we read in verse 1, it said, which they offered year by year, continually making the commerce thereunto perfect, right? For then would they not have ceased to be offered because that the worshippers once purged should have had no more conscience of sins. You know, so if they would have been made perfect through that one sacrifice that they had made, then why are they still going around, you know, having that conscience, you know, that conscience of sin?
Right.
You know, that's asking you that rhetorical question, right? So then it says, but in those sacrifices there is a remembrance again made of sins every year. For it is not possible that the blood of bulls and of goats should take away sins, man. And it tells you right there. It's like, you know, so it's not possible for the blood of bulls and goats for your sins to be, for you to be made perfect, right? Now, continuing on, it says, wherefore when he cometh into the world, he saith, sacrifice and offering thou wouldest not, but a body has thou prepared me, you know, and that's quoted in Matthew the 26th chapter. And burnt offerings and sacrifices for sins thou hast had no pleasure. Then said I, lo, I come in the volume. Okay, okay, Khan. Yeah, I know that was the point on that. You know, so it's not possible for the blood of these animals and for you to be made perfect in it, man. You know, you're still gonna have that thought in your back of your mind, you know, of you going off. You know, because we in this flesh, right? So if that was the case, then it should be good. You know, but with Yahawah, Shem, Yahawashi, and Yahweh making that sacrifice and shedding his blood, man, we have that liberty, man. We have that grace.
That's
you
right.
know? Now, we know we're not perfect. You know?
Close.
But through that blood, you know, we are made perfect.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's why it says in John 17:17, you know, sanctify me through thy word.
Yeah.
Thy word is truth. Through this word, we are cleansed of that blood.
That's right.
You know?
Hebrews 9 and 10, which stood only in meats and drinks and diverse washings and carnal ordinances imposed on them until the time of reformation. Verse 11, but Yahawashi being come and high priest of good things to come by a greater and more perfect tabernacle, not made with hands, that is to say, not of this building.
Right, so now Yahawashi being made that high priest, like it said in that earlier, you had that high priest go in with the blood, right? First for his own sins, and then for the nation, right?
Right.
So now Yahawashi has been made the high priest, right? Go ahead.
Verse 12.
I got that what you just said.
Oh, go ahead.
This is Hebrews chapter 7 and verse 27. And it reads, who needeth not daily as those high priests to offer up sacrifice first for his own sins and then for the people's. For this he did once when he offered up himself. And when you read up in the chapters going into Yahawashi, man, you know, being sprang out of Judah, our Lord sprang out of Judah. So we know that's talking about the Lord, Yahawashi, man.
Right. And that goes into what the brother would say. Is there more on that?
No, that's the point.
Okay, yeah, but you know, like I said right there, first for his own sins and then for the people, man. Now, we have the understanding, so and the brother just mentioned, like, you can prove it in that same chapter that's talking about Yahawashi. So if Yahawashi never sinned, which is another topic, you know what I'm saying, then how is he going to make, you know, how is he going to first make that offering for his own sins and then for the nation? You know, it shows you that he's talking about something else, you know, which is something we can go into another time, you know, but anyways, you know, Yahawashi being that high priest.
Because it said by him being a high priest, will make him a more and greater, it says, by a greater and more perfect tabernacle.
Right.
When Yahawashi comes, it's going to be perfect.
Now remember, we had talked about that covenant, that first covenant being made in Exodus 24 chapter. That first, you know, like when they sprinkled the blood.
Right.
Like this is the covenant between you and the Lord and all the things that you agreed to do. So now with this, that's that, you know, that second covenant, which really hasn't been fulfilled yet until we have the law, statutes, and commandments written in our inward parts, like the scriptures say.
Right.
But that's that what's the word I'm looking for? Like kind of like that beginning. You know what I mean? Like the first. What's the word I'm looking for? Like the first push to it. You know what I mean? Like this is the first. Like I'm just gonna say like the beginning of that second covenant.
Right.
Because it hasn't all the way been fulfilled yet. You know what I'm saying? If that makes, Lord willing, that makes sense. You know. Go ahead on.
Verse 12. neither by blood of goats and calves, but by his own blood he entered in once into the holy place, having obtained eternal redemption for us.
Right, so we just read that in Hebrews the 10th chapter, you know, how you and I may be made perfect with the bloods of bulls and bullocks. Right, go ahead.
Verse 13, for if the blood of bulls, of goats, and of ashes of heifers, sprinkling the unclean, sanctify the purifying of the flesh. Read that again. For if the blood of bulls and of goats, and the ashes of an heifer, sprinkling the unclean, sanctifies to the purifying of the flesh. Verse 14, how much more shall the blood of YAHAWASHI, who through the eternal Spirit offered himself without spot to the Most High, purge your conscience from dead works to serve the living God.
Right, so it said, how much more shall the blood of Hamashiach? You know, so if you were able to bleed, and that time, that time being overshadowed by that, not overshadowed. Well, yeah, you know, like for that time in the ancient world where you would make that sacrifice, the Most High overlooked, you know, overlooked them sins that you had committed. You know, how much more is the blood of Yahawashi?
Right. You got to go through Yahawashi. In order for Yahweh to look at you, you got to go through his son anyways. He can't look upon you, man, with the filth and the sins that we have, plus that we have on us, and the sins that we committed before we came back to this word, man. Yahweh's not looking at, he looking through Yahawashi, how he look at us. He can't just look at us directly, man. Right. Because we're full of sin. We're full of sin, man. So Yahawashi had to be that. Okay. Yeah, verse 15. I'm gonna say partition, but verse 15. And for this cause, he is the mediator of the New Testament, that by means of death for the redemption of the transgressions that were under the first testament, that which are called might receive the promise of eternal inheritance. Man.
Yeah, there you go, man. As a matter of fact, let me read that. What verse you at?
15.
For this cause
he is the mediator of the New Testament.
Yeah. Man. That by the means of death for the redemption of the transgressions that were under the first testament, they which were called might receive the promise of eternal inheritance. You know?
Oh.
Hey, we had, as a matter of fact, can you go back to Ephesians 2nd chapter?
Yes, 15. For where testament is there must also, that's it.
Okay, Khan, yeah, you know, continue where you left off.
Khan, verse 16. You want me to read 15 again?
Yeah, read 15.
It's Ephesians chapter 2 and 15. Having abolished in his flesh the enmity, even the law of commandments contained in ordinances, for to make in himself of twain one new man, so making peace.
Right, making us peace between us and the Lord.
Right.
Go ahead.
And verse 16, and that he might reconcile both unto the Most High in one body by the cross, having slain the enmity thereby.
Yeah, having us reconciled back, you know, that bringing back in that adoption. You know, like we were saying, like I said earlier, up in that verse, man, we were alienated, being made strangers.
Right.
You know, and like we read in that word alienated means to be cut off, to be intimacy, right?
Yeah.
You know, so like we had gone into, you know, the Most High had done away with us, but now through the blood of Yahawashi, that enmity, all right, that middle wall partition, that invisible wall was brought down, was torn down. Mm-hmm. Right, go ahead.
Khan, verse 17, and came and preached peace to you which were afar off, and to them that were not.
Yeah, to those that were afar off. You know, what did Paul mention? Is it 1 Corinthians the 12th chapter, where it says like you were dumb in those idols?
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Get it?
Yeah, get
that. Is that 12?
Yeah, 12 and 1.
Yeah, I think
2.
1 Corinthians 12 and 2. Ye know that you were Gentiles carried away unto these dumb idols, even as ye were led.
Right, you know, so we were dumb, you know, being carried away in these dumb idols, man. We were going off. You know, we're being wicked, whoring, worshiping different idols made of wood and stone, you know. Go ahead.
Wherefore I give you to understand that no man speaking by the Spirit of the Most High calleth Yahawashi accursed, and that no man can say that Yahawashi is the Lord, but by the Holy Ghost.
Okay, yeah, that was pretty much the point on that. Go back to that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Back in Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 17, and came and preached peace to you which were afar off, and to them that were nigh. For through him,
So he came to those that were far off and those were already close. You know,
Think about it. It's like, no, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Now, you know, like for example, you had the circumcision and then you had the uncircumcision.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But like Yahushua had mentioned, you know, I came not those to those that are whole, but those to that are sick. You know, he was calling himself the physician. You know.
right.
Go ahead.
Verse 18, for through him we both have access by one Spirit unto the Father.
Man.
Yeah. So through him we have that access.
One access. That's all it takes. That's all we need. That one access.
That's it.
It was getting, man. That's crazy.
God. Is that it?
We got a little more.
Keep going.
Yeah, keep going. Yeah.
Verse 19. Yeah, we can finish it out. Now therefore ye are no more strangers and foreigners, but fellow citizens with the saints and of the house of and of the household of the Most High.
Right, so we are now made citizens. You know what I'm saying? Hey, like we had read, man, we were made strangers, right? You know, we were alienated. Hey, like, you know, think about it, like, you know, you got America, and you got your aliens, right, that are, you know, you got Mexicans, you know, Ishkar coming over here, and then they're coming over illegally.
Right.
You know, they call them aliens. And then you got to go through a whole process of being made, you know, like signing different papers and you know, paying a lot of money.
Process and shit, yeah.
Right, all that process to where you can be receive your citizenship.
Right.
You know, and I want to say it's kind of the same thing with Yahawah, man. You know, there's a lot of things you got to do, and then one of those things is to purge yourself from being in this world, man.
Right.
Let's speak of in Colossians, become that new man.
Yeah. You know, letting that old man go away and
Right.
bringing that new man forth, man. That's why it talks about that. Peter talked about that. You know, that real baptism. You know, not the washing away of the flesh, but the washing away of a new renewing of your mind and of a good conscience. You know, because a lot of people can say like, yeah, I believe in God. Yeah, I believe in the word of Jesus Christ. But then, you know, they still gonna go around and live wickedly, man. And you see that a lot in these Christians, man. You know, they go around saying one thing like, yeah, I believe in God and Jesus Christ, and I believe in everything they say. I believe He came and died for my sins. But then their whole actions and their whole thoughts process is something completely different.
Totally.
You know, like they don't really believe, they know about the Bible, they know about God, they know about Jesus, but then they don't know nothing else that comes with that.
Nothing.
You know, so it takes, that's like I said, man, you know, you had Ishkar going through that process to become citizenship, man. You got to do that too, man. YAHAWASHI, man, you got to let certain things go, man. You got to cut off
Cigarette smoking weed, getting tattoos, adultery. It's a process.
You know, and it also takes time.
Yeah.
You know, for me, I know these brothers can also have, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? They got their own testimonies.
Right. Oh yeah.
Of the process that they went through when they first started listening and coming out here.
Yep.
You know, for me, I had a hard time getting stop smoking weed. You know. You know, it took me a while, but eventually.
Keep the habit.
Yeah. You know. But anyways, you got more on that?
Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 20, and are built upon the foundation of the apostles and prophets, Yahawashi Mashiach himself being the chief cornerstone,
Right. Go ahead.
in whom all the building fitly framed together groweth into an holy temple in the Lord, in whom ye also are builded together for an habitation of the Most High through Spirit.
Right, so Yahushua being that chief cornerstone of this whole temple, spiritual temple, you know, us being a part of that too, you know, because we are a part of that temple. And then Yahushua being that foundation, that cornerstone, you know, we have that, like Ephesians 2nd chapter was talking about, man. You know,
Got that sure foundation.
yeah.
And it's speaking about us being no lively stones, so we part of that. Really, just the third temple. See, it ain't no physical. It's a physical temple because it's us. It's not a building.
Right.
The people telling the third temple gonna be built. No, the third temple is being built spiritually, right in front of your eyes, man.
Yeah, you know, Yahushua had made that point, you know, like the Lord, the Spirit of the Lord dwelleth not in temples made by hands of men.
That's right.
But go ahead and read that. We'll finish off on this one unless y'all brothers got something more.
Nah, we good. We almost an hour now. James 2:10. For whosoever shall keep the whole law and yet offend in one point, he is guilty of all.
Right. So like we had talked about, you know, we had mentioned that point of the old covenant, the difference between the old covenant and the new covenant.
Right.
You know, the law of sacrifice. Right. Go ahead. So this is going back into what we was talking about, man. Like the laws were not done away with. It was just that one thing that was meant, well, that was mentioned, but that one particular subject. Okay,
Right.
when it came to the law of sacrifice. Okay, go ahead.
For he that said, do not commit adultery, said also, do not kill. Now, if thou commit no adultery, yet if thou kill, thou art become a transgressor of the law. So speak ye, and so do, as they that shall be judged by the law of liberty. Verse 13, for he shall have judgment without mercy, and hath showed no mercy, and mercy rejoiceth against judgment. What doth it profit, my brethren, though a man say he hath faith and have not works? Can faith save him? If a brother or sister be naked and destitute of daily food, and one of you said to them, depart in peace, be ye warmed and filled. Notwithstanding, you give them not those, you give them not those things which are needful to the body, what doth it profit?
Right. So you're saying, so for example, let's say it's giving you that reference between faith and works, right?
Right.
So you have, let's say you have somebody, and they need food or they're hungry and they're thirsty, but then what does it say? Like you say, go in peace, you're filled.
And one of you said to them, depart in peace, be ye warmed and filled.
But then you don't give them what they need. You know, they're hungry and they're thirsty, but like it's all good. You full and you hydrated. You know, go ahead and go your way. You good, right? Go ahead.
Notwithstanding, ye give them not those things which are needful to the body, what doth it profit?
Yeah. So if you don't give them those things that they need, they're over here dying of hunger and of thirst. But then you don't give them what their body needs. Then what is it good for? Like you said, oh, it's all good. You full. You hydrated.
Right.
Go ahead, go on your way. You know, like what does it profit, right? Go ahead.
Even so, faith, if it hath not works, is dead being alone.
Same thing applies to faith and works, man. If you have faith, but you don't have your works, then what does it profit?
Right.
Like, yeah, I believe in Jesus Christ, but I'm gonna go ahead and do something else.
Right.
I'm gonna go ahead and kill this guy just because I want his car or something.
Right.
But hey, Jesus Christ got me. I said I'm sorry, Jesus. You know, like you ain't showing your works. You know, you deciding like I saw good. I'm gonna eat this catfish. You know, but with YAHAWASHI or with Jesus Christ's blood, I'm good. You know, hey, what did Acts the 11th chapter said? He said Peter slay and eat, right? So I'm good. You know, they don't have that understanding, man. That's why in Romans the 10th chapter says that my people have the zeal for the Most High, but not according to knowledge. What is that? Habakkuk the 4th chapter. My people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. Hosea the 4th chapter.
4 and 6.
The water. You know, Hosea the 4 and 6, like the brother said. You know, therefore my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. You know, and people wonder, like, man, why is this happening to me? Like, why am I suffering so much? Why are their babies dying? You know, why my mom died of cancer last week?
Right.
Why is God doing this to me?
Right.
Not knowing that that you doing something that you just because you think you're a good person don't mean that it's all good.
Right.
Just because you go to church every Sunday and Wednesday or Friday or whatever the hell doesn't mean that you're gonna be all right.
It's not works.
Yeah, you know. And then I had an argument with somebody. One of my old youth ministers back when I used to go to church. That was a few years ago. I was in the truth. You know, still learning some things. But then I decided to go talk to him. Like, hey, what you think about this? You know, and they made the really, like, they stuck to their argument to where, like, no, you ain't gotta show it. Like, as long as you have faith. You know what I'm saying? But then what about Abraham?
Man.
He had faith, but then what did he do? He had works.
Right.
Okay, what about with Abraham and Isaac, right? When the Lord told him, like, look, I need you to sacrifice your son.
I was just about to say that, yep.
And he said, Abraham didn't say, no, Lord, I believe you, I'm good. You know, I believe that me having my faith, that I don't need to be doing that. You know what I'm saying? No, he went and he was about to do it.
He kind of be like, you know what? I know now that your son is not above me. He said something to that effect. I just came across it the other day. It's funny you bring that out. It was good. That was hella faith, man. By his work, because he was going to actually do it.
Yeah.
Right.
But the Most High spoke from heaven and stopped him like, you know what? You good. And he looked over there in that thicket, and there was a lamb or for him or something to sacrifice.
Right. Oh, Abraham.
Okay,
Yeah. Abraham had told, like, Isaac had asked him, like, where's the
sacrifice?
Yeah, where's the sacrifice?
Go give me one.
Yeah, the Lord's gonna provide one, you know.
Provide one.
And he did.
Right.
You know.
Right.
That's how much faith Abraham had, man. To the point where his wife, Sarah, you know, she was already old of age, and then he said, man, she's gonna have kids. And then Abraham, like, he chuckled, like, he didn't chuckle, like, laugh and like scoffing, but he's like, damn, like, you know, you laughing, like, damn, that's amazing. You know, like, you know, like, anything happened in your life to where, like, man, that's cold. You know, like, or something, the Lord did something for you and you laugh, like, man, the water, you know what I'm saying? The same thing with Abraham, man. He chuckled, he said, man, you know, you're gonna make a woman of that age have to bear children, you know, like, he was pretty much saying, like, man, the Lord's cold, he's gonna do that. You know, because he believed. You know, he had that faith, like, yeah, the Lord gonna do it, man, that's crazy. You know, he's laughing, like, man, God, you know? Is there more on that?
Verse 18, James 2 and 18. Yea, a man may say, thou hast faith, and I have works. Show me thy faith without thy works, and I will show thee faith by my works.
Right, so it's the same, you know, it's the same thing, you know, like, man, I'll show you my faith without works, but you got to show me your